And welcome to the Oasis podcast. I am John Mark, and this is Wayne Weaver. And we're back after about 3 weeks, 4 weeks
it was of unfortunate situations.
Yes, well, some of them were planned. You were traveling. You were over in Ireland. And had some wings over there that you've been talking about that I've been, we've talked about wings before on here, and there were a number of people that have been, calling me on the side saying, "Hey, John, what is that secret to the wings?" Now, you found some wings in Ireland, of all places.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be delightful.
Very good. Absolutely. It's definitely a place when you go over there, and the place where we stay is about 20 minutes from there. Yeah, peri wings.
Wow. And
they were really good.
You even wanted to eat the sauce with a spoon.
Yep, and
wow.
I did. Yeah. At the end of it, when the wings were all gone, I just took a spoon and took the rest out and ate it with, and the others did too. Dipped some stuff in it. It was really good. I thought what they should do is make a stew or a soup like that, or some kind of. It was really good.
That was just so good. Well, you were telling me that you've actually been experimenting. You never leave something like that by itself. You're always looking to make it a little better or to recreate it. Yeah. So you came home and you've already.
I already made some, but it wasn't better.
Okay.
No. And I'm willing to pay some money just to get that recipe. So, it was good.
No,
it was good. I'm
good.
hoping it's somebody out there is thinking wings right now.
Yeah, they probably are, and we're gonna maybe one of these days one of our listeners will actually bring some wings into the studio when we do this, right? Wouldn't that be something? But
or we'll have to make some.
That would be good too.
We both like wings.
Oh, wings are where it's
especially
at.
on the diet that we're on.
Right.
Yeah.
And you are lighter than you've been in 37, 38 years. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And when you can eat good food and lose weight, that's an amazing thing. But anyway, you were over in Ireland. You were doing more than eating wings.
Yeah.
You met ministry, made ministry contacts, beautiful things. We won't necessarily go into that, but God moved in some mighty ways and is opening some doors for ministry. So that was part of what you were doing. Yeah. Then we had, our volunteers that do the production for this had some medical issues.
Yeah.
One son ended up in the hospital, and another came home from the hospital with a new baby. And so, there's a number of things going on there. So that explains why we have been missing a couple of weeks and getting back. But we're in the studio today, and it's really good to be back.
And we've been asking for some new volunteers, and so tonight there is a new volunteer that is helping.
Indeed.
So there's actually the staff that does the production of this consists of 4 people. So besides you and I.
Yeah, we come in and we basically talk. These guys do all the work in making it happen. So we've got the greatest staff. Yeah, that's amazing.
So.
Coming up in just a few weeks. June 21, it's a Friday, we're going to be doing a business seminar for Oasis. And Oasis has, I'm going to guess it's because of you, has a reputation for business. Yes, absolutely. But God has blessed you with some real business wisdom and ability. And there's a business seminar coming up, and we're going to actually hear from some of your companies in one of the sessions. But we'll be talking about making sense of your people puzzles and creative marketing, and then business essentials will be the 3 main sessions for the day, and then there'll be a question and answer session. But I'm kind of looking forward to that, and we want to just invite you, if you want to be a part of that seminar. I believe there will be a link in the notes for this, and possibly some instructions on how to sign up. But I think it will be very profitable. We're looking at kind of a theme of creating the right atmosphere for your business to thrive, and looking at people, marketing, and then just the essentials
Not
of
servant
business.
leadership.
Well, no, this is not going to be a pump you up tell you how to manipulate people.
No.
We're gonna try to help to understand the essentials.
Not
of
copy
business.
and paste.
No,
Not stuff we've heard before. It's original. It's original people with experience. That this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to it?
Well, you never warned me of that question. Am I looking forward to it? Yes, all except for my little spot.
Okay. And I'm going to guess that's probably where a lot of our attendees are going to be looking forward to, is that spot where you're maybe not looking forward to as much. But that's going to be a fun time.
Actually, we do have, we were just in a meeting today, numerous ones on the with the company's executive staff, and making some decisions on what to present and so forth. So it will be interesting. Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
There's no question. People will be able to see how good of employees I have.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so key.
Yeah.
But, good employees need a good employer, and you've invested in that. You've invested in making those businesses a place with an atmosphere that is worthwhile being
Where
in.
people are in good moods.
Mm-hmm. In good moods, exactly. Because that is actually what we want to talk about today, is how to deal with moody people.
Yeah.
I remember, we were talking a little bit before we got on the air here, or on the camera, and that was how I had a foreman once who I worked under, and we were on a construction crew, and we would always drive 4 in a pickup, those bench seat, and no, they didn't have a lot of those extended cabs back then.
Yeah, right.
And there's comfort. It was pack them in, and the ride home was sweaty, stinky, and everybody's whatever. But on the way in,
that's
in the
where
morning,
cowboy hats came from.
exactly.
You know that?
You got to have a little space.
4 in the front seat, no in the back.
No in the back. You got the whole thing. Yeah. Well, we my foreman, he would drive every morning, and but he would always. When I joined the crew, he just told me, he says, "Now listen, we got a rule here. We don't talk until after 10 o'clock in the morning. If you got a question about what the work is, that's fine, but no chit chat." And it was true. We just simply didn't. But after 10 o'clock in the morning, he was just
foreman?
as friendly as could be. Yep.
He was foreman. Wow.
And nice guy, but just don't talk to me until after 10 o'clock. And after 10 o'clock, the mood lifted and he was good. So I don't know where all that came from, but moody people can be difficult. And how do we deal with them? I mean, in business, church, family, our social networks, how do we deal with moody people? That's what we want to look at today. So I want to read a passage out of Proverbs 27, and then I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you for your input on these things, because I think you've dealt with people over the years. In fact, I just noticed you've got an anniversary coming up soon, don't you?
Yeah.
1976.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. I was born in 1973.
Really?
Yeah.
You were 3 years old.
3 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
That's funny. I just noticed that the other day on the calendar.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I'm a little older, I guess.
You've seen...
I would tend to be.
Yeah. You've seen a lot of people over the years.
Dealt with a lot of
church,
people.
in business, on personal levels. So I'm going to ask you, how do you deal with moody people? And I'm sure you've seen quite a few. But here's what it says. Proverbs 27, 14 to 19. And I hope nobody gets offended by me reading this. This is really quite a descriptive. Yeah, it's the Bible. You can get upset with Solomon. But here are some real principles of dealing with moody people. So, beginning with verse 14, he who blesses his friend with a loud voice, rising early in the morning, it will be counted a curse to him. I don't know why. That was one of the verses I memorized back in school. I just thought it was funny. The idea, he who blesses his friend with a loud voice, rising early in the morning. My foreman would not have liked this guy. And then on to verse 15. A continual dripping on a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. Now, this might give a bad rap. But we've been around moody people in those situations as well. Whoever restrains her restrains the wind and grasps oil with his right hand. I don't know if you've ever tried grasping oil, but it kind of slides right through. As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. That's verse 17. Verse 18, whoever keeps the fig tree will eat its fruit, so he who waits on his master will be honored. As in water, face reflects face, so a man's heart reveals the man. So we have these verses that speak about differing relationships. And in light of our theme for today, how to deal with moody people, you've got that loud friend in the morning, you've got a contentious woman, you've got iron sharpening iron, so there's just this friction of relationships that happen, right? And then you've even got, I guess this is speaking about the fact that you might have even employers who can be a bit moody at times. He who waits on his master will be honored. And then just as in water, face reflects face, so a man's heart reveals the man. So there's a reflection that is happening there. So number of concepts we might refer to as we go along here, but just for those who are wondering, how do you deal with a moody person? This is a great place to start in Scripture and take a look at that. So, Wayne, how would you define a moody person?
I don't know that I have, of course, not all the answers to all this, but moody people, I think we've all met some in life.
Should Christians be moody?
They are.
They are
Christians. No, but sometimes I'm not quite sure how to understand this, because I remember there was a time in the earlier part of my life where I actually prayed about it, because I felt that things affect me too much. And there's too much, I'm up one day and down another. And I prayed about this, and I asked the Lord to give me emotional stability, that I would seem to be kind of the same person every day, even though inside sometimes it doesn't feel the same. Mm-hmm. And circumstances will definitely contribute to positive or negative. It sure will, but does it have to affect us to the point where we take it out on somebody else? I've been... When you talk about being wounded through words, it often comes through somebody that's moody. And a moody person is somebody, typically what I find, is when you are moody and you really hand it to someone, and if someone just speaks something maybe lightly back, that hurts that person tremendously. A moody person will wound many people, and they are easily wounded themselves. Mm-hmm. That's not necessary. And I think look at the mirror. You look at the face in water, or a mirror, and people should be aware of that. But I will say this, that for some reason, and this is actually why our subject is this, for some reason I've just noticed that I'm just not good with words the last while. It just seems that, and it's not that I'm moody, it's not that I'm irritated, it's not that, but I just, for some reason, my words come out wrong. And I've tried to encourage people, and all at once I say, you know what, I don't think I'm saying the right thing. And I don't know why that is. But it was enough that I had to at times even, try to encourage someone. I'm just choosing the wrong words to encourage. And I just, when I see that, I just refrain. And I think that if you look at that as being moody, or if moodiness would do that too, there's a time not to talk.
So there are times when a person has a rough day. I mean, it's that day when it seems nothing quite goes right, and you've got a lot on your mind. That can be a very thing, but being characterized by that. I remember going to school, and we had some students there that you never knew from one day to the next, sometimes even from 1 hour to the next, what kind of mood they were going to be in. Mm-hmm. They could go from being relatively cordial to being just wow, and nothing was right. And so I think that that's one of the beautiful things about the Holy Spirit within a person is that he modulates our moodiness, and it doesn't allow us to be fools real long in a bad mood. But there are days that we will have bad moods. But what is, for me, a moody person, and I don't know if this would be how you would define it, but a moody person that I would call moody is a person who doesn't seem to have a lot of control over that. They can flip from good to bad, and maybe often stay in bad for a couple of days. What we would say a bad mood. They're just kind of dark and storm cloudy. They could rain on you or lightning strike you pretty easy. Would that be how you would kind of see that? I mean,
moody people sometimes it doesn't take much to set them off. What's the point in that? I mean, look at the color of my hair. They're just white. Why do you think that came from? Didn't come from easy life. Came from difficulty, and according to the Bible, that's even interpreted that way, gray hair. And mine are not even gray, they're white now. The only thing that I could do to my hair now that would make them different was pull them out.
Yeah, it works.
I guess I always try to remember this, and it's kind of a rule of thumb. Why, if I don't feel so well myself within, why make someone else feel that way? Why? What is about me that is more important than someone else's feelings? So try to be careful with that, and especially when you're, I've learned some things in life in this picture because of many employees, because of church. Many people in church, and to always dance around people is also not really life, but it kind of teaches you to be careful with your words. I'm reminded of a friend of mine that made a really, really good statement several years ago. In fact, I called him Nate just before to see if I could get permission to say this.
Story,
because it was just something that always stuck with me. He had two employees that were good friends, but one of them got upset about the other one tremendously. And Nate was just saying like this, and this guy, I guess, came to him and he said, I'm just so angry or whatever, worked up about this situation. And he wanted to confront him and all that, and in a very harsh way. And Nate just said, why do that when in a couple of days you even forgot about it? To ruin a friendship, great friendship that you've had with this other person for a while, and to ruin it for the rest of your future. When if you can just be silent, and in a couple of days you've even forgotten it. That was tremendous wise. That's wisdom. And I think sometimes we could find walk in some of those principles that, is this worth ruining a friendship? Or making a name for myself that I'm hard to get along with because of my mood swings.
And some people like that. I've heard people that are kind of proud of that.
Oh my goodness,
keeps people at a distance. Yeah.
Well, it's control.
Yeah,
that's control, and it's wrong. It's just wrong. Christians should not have that. So there's times when that I feel moody. I mean, sure, but I try not to show it. I try to keep it as in check as I can. To hope nobody knows it. Now I've gone through some very hard times where it was hard to keep my chin up, but at that time I would not near bark at somebody. That's just not me. The Lord's removed that from me.
So when I look at the beginning of Proverbs 27:14 there, where it says, "He who blesses his friend with a loud voice rising early in the morning, it will be counted a curse to him." And then I look at Proverbs 15:1, where a soft answer turns away wrath, a harsh word stir up anger. And you've talked a lot about words and kind of the cutting that happens. The idea of a soft answer turning away wrath, with a moody person. What makes a person moody? What are some causes to that?
There could be some physical causes at times, but I think a lot of it is internal turmoil. And here's the thing, we could all have that. But if you want to take your whole day and ruin it, just let that ruin you. And it's just not necessary. There's more things in life than just one little thing to ruin something. Could be somebody just confronting you with something bad. Or here's the other thing. So I get a phone call from one person who's got this problem. So I try to help him out and hang up. And then I've got somebody else calling me about this problem and wanting to have some recommendations. And all at once, I'm kind of filled with other people's problems. And now what I can do is look at the whole world as they're full of problems. Or I can just pull away a little bit and regather myself and, all right, I'm ready to go on, rather than to carry it over to someone else. Sometimes in the bygone days, I'd have somebody once in a while that would just light into me, just let me have it. For some reason, John, I never responded bad to a person like that because it broke me. And I think that's part of the success part of not doing that, is because if it breaks you or makes you bitter. Mm-hmm. Did I feel like striking back? Sometimes I remember, I'll say this, that there's times when I recall one specific time when somebody really let me have it. I mean, he just told me 10, 20 things that's wrong with me. And I just, yeah. And I could have just told him 100 things, but it wouldn't help anything. So, yeah. A lot of times, one person just has one little issue with you. In fact, that even happens right on here. Mm-hmm. Something I say on the podcast, and somebody strikes at me in that. Do I strike back? Why in the world? Why would you strike back? There's no point. It doesn't help the other person. It doesn't help me. So my thing is to stay warm in your heart and try to exercise love. Now, in the middle of a lot of, conflict, when your hair are almost being pulled out because you've got so many decisions and things to make, yeah, you can get a little rattled at times, and maybe the words that you speak sound a bit different, but there's a way to go through life to stay calm. And
that's where I think even a verse like Proverbs 15:28 is very good, because I think when you are a moody person, and most of us don't admit it if we are, but if you are a difficult to get along with person, a verse like Proverbs 15:28 would be good. It says, "The heart of the righteous studies how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours out evil." Mm-hmm. So you're seeing a difference in character.
Oh, yeah, very good. That's very good. And to me, I wish I'd have much more of that, because I think it's important how we speak. It's important when I say how we speak, not only what we speak, but how we speak. Mm-hmm. I said how. How is I can be, I can say something nice with an angry looking face and it changes. I think how we speak is important. There is something that should be attached to our voice that should make a difference in someone's life. And it's part of the sowing. When we sow a good seed, it shouldn't come with an angry heart. Mm-hmm. It should come with a kind heart. And I think those are the kindnesses that we need to carry around. Now, it's hard to go through this without talking about husband-wife.
Right. Well, and I think we need to, because, I mean, where else are you going to? I mean, the chances of having a friend getting up and blessing you loudly in the morning is probably going to happen with your spouse or a roommate or somebody with whom you're interacting. Well, in the early morning. Yeah,
I kind of people that have that struggle with not wanting to talk in the morning, or they don't do mornings in our language. I kind of have fun with those people. I love.
Are you the one that blesses them with a loud voice?
No, but I can. If I know them well enough, I'll good morning. Something that they just have the chills go up and down. Then I laugh and have fun with them. I've trained quite a number of people off of having bad mornings just by the way I use them and have fun with them. And it's a lot. And here's another thing: we go through different times in our life. Even food can make a difference.
That's true.
It can. Mm-hmm. If you say no, well, try a lot of caffeine tonight before you go to bed. Some people it won't affect. But if you go and drink a lot of caffeine before you go to bed, you simply won't sleep. But what will happen tomorrow when you wake up? You're going to be groggy and might not feel the best. So it would have some mood swings. And so life offers those different types of things. That's one thing that I found, that my wife is a very high compliment on that. I have never found her to be moody in any circumstance or situation. There's only one time in all life cycles that she's going through to where I all at once said, yeah, now I know why you seem to be a little short with me. But she is not that way. She's just same one day as she is the other. Not every marriage has that. There's some that go through a lot more difficulty in that, but my wife has been very special that way. She's just not a moody type of person. And that's great. Makes it easier for me. No, I don't know what she would say about me, but I certainly try. Mood is not something that goes ungoverned. It should stay governed. We need to have a governor on it to make that we're never. How
do we do that?
Well, how do we do that?
I think, hadn't you talked one time about the fact that if we're constantly getting up with a grouchy sense, in the morning, there's a problem. We're not letting the Lord deal with something. If that's always the case, the Christian should have a much more even, not that you can't have a bad day, but it should be a character defined by.
Frustrations create moods, all right? Because that goes deeper. It messes with your heart, messes with your mind, your will, your emotion, and all that. So there needs to be a way to deal with frustrations, and there can be common ways to deal with frustration. There can be ways to relax. Jesus, I just read it, I think it was this morning, where Jesus said that, and there's a different translation that I read, and it even opened it more. He said that, let's pull aside because we're not even able to enjoy eating. This is what the verse, is what the verse said. And then so that's being too overburdened. And then we have to watch some of those things. And if you don't, you say, well, no big deal. Well, you probably have a mood problem too. And you'll grouch and you'll just yak at people and take your frustrations out on someone else. That to me is totally unnecessary. It's not necessary for me to take my frustrations out on someone else. If I'm frustrated, it's my problem. It's not their problem. So why do I want to include them in it?
So let's talk about that. If let's go from the other side. If I am dealing with a person in my office, on the job, I've got to drive an hour or two to work with them, and they're grouchy and whatever. How does a Christian respond to that with grace and love and wisdom? There's a verse in Proverbs that says, don't answer a fool according to their folly, lest you be like them. But then it says, answer a fool according to their folly, lest they be wise in their own eyes. So how should we engage moody people?
Let me tell you a little story that I just found. I just heard this story again when I was in Ireland. I was with some. While I was over there, I was with. I can't say exactly who it was or anything like that, but I'll disguise it a bit. I was with some people, all right?
Yes.
And there were some stories that came out of some of those people. And one of them was a person that was a Muslim, and he was converted. He was actually a person that will be here in the fall conference. Lived a very, very, very strong Muslim life background, and even lived among people like, I can't say it.
Right,
because
for sure.
it might put government signs up.
Exactly.
But But anyways, so he said that he was over in one of those countries, and one of the Christians there was a extremist Muslim, and the extremist Muslim's father is still that way, and is actually in charge of some very high position in Lebanon. And so he asked him if he would go with him to see his father, because his father requested to see him. And they thought it might not be safe, because this person that told me this,
sure,
he was the man, He's a preacher. So they decided, no, his father asked for it, so let's go. And they don't know what's going to happen because of the culture and their beliefs and so forth. So they went. And this man that told me this story said like this. So I asked this high in authority man from
that area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If so why, since this man, your son, converted to Christianity, why don't you kill him? Because you are allowed to in the
in your religion.
Yeah, in your religion. And he said, well, he was a very bad son, and he was a miserable, mean son. But he said, since he converted to Christianity, he's become a kind man. And he's a very kind man. And he said, if I didn't kill him when he was bad, why should I when he is kind? All right?
Mm-hmm. So there was a change.
There was a change. And isn't that what we carry? You know, it's us Christians that talk about the joy of the Lord. It's us Christians that talk about love, that talk about peace, that talk about patience. It's not the others.
So should we be bothered by a bad mood person?
We should offer what we have and change their mood,
Right.
make their life better. Always. They could come to us and be all upset and all that. And I think for me, I've always strived to do that. If somebody is not happy, if somebody is sad, if somebody is upset, especially, that I try to help them out just by my presence. Say certain things, encourage them. You know, the Bible even talks about the feeble-minded.
Mm-hmm.
What does it say that we should do to feeble-minded people? Some people think we need to help them out in every little thing or so. You know, the Bible gives you one thing to do with a feeble-minded person. It just says comfort the feeble-minded. Sometimes just to offer comfort. And comfort comes by way of peace.
Now, that'll probably put somebody in a mood if you tell them a moody person is feeble-minded.
There you go.
But no, that is so good. And so really discerning what is going on. And I think that's very good. Why are they moody? Is it because of just being of a troubled mind, or is it that they're just...
Seek to have enough strength in you from the Lord that you can make a difference in the other person's life.
Mm-hmm, that's good.
Yeah. Don't complain. There's no point. There's no point to load my frustrations and my complaints on someone else. It has never helped. It doesn't solve anything. A lot of those things are done through the motivation of envy, covetousness, jealousy. You know, that's what drives a lot of this miserable spirit in people, to make other people miserable. There's no point. It will never help you, and that's not what Jesus did. Nor do his children do that. Moody people can be very difficult. Mm-hmm. They can. They'll be one way one day, another way another day. And if they're really moody, they'll change within the hour. And those are not comfortable people. Those are not people that you will find that will have a lot of friends. They will actually almost have no friends because nobody can judge them. Nobody really wants to be around them because they can bite so quick. And next thing, they're extremely happy and nothing changed.
And sometimes they bite and then they're happy.
They think they are.
Yeah, they think
but they're not.
Right.
No, they're
right.
not. It's an angry spirit. And I think in employment, I've always taken it as a challenge to develop an aroma within a company or an aroma wherever I go that has a different scent to it, that people like when I come by. They like, oh, hey, and they know that it will be a good experience and it'll be a pleasant experience because I was in their presence. And I think this is the way we should be.
So that would be a good question even for those who are listening to this podcast is to say, how do people respond? Are they glad to see you? Or do they have this kind of a parting of the waters when you come by because you're the storm cloud? You know, do you like that reputation or don't you? Those are tough ones.
Very much so. And as an employer, you can contribute to bad or good. And for us, and as a pastor, we want to contribute to good. You know, sometimes we make mistakes and say some things, but it's not intentional. Like I said here lately, for some reason, going through this period where and maybe it's just the way I feel, that I'm thinking that I'm just saying some things wrong. Not bad, but it's just like, it's not encouraging people like I like to see. So what do? I get those vibes, so I just shut up. Just stay your distance. Just back up a little bit and find your peace, find your confidence, and then go forward again.
Mm-hmm. So one other question here that I have, and then we've got a couple of loose ends to tie up. But how do we show the love of Christ to that person in the office that is just, you couldn't say anything right? They will attack you. They will do what? How do we show the love of Christ even in our conversation with others about them? Is there a way to do that is redemptive?
Yeah, there is. I think when you're talking about in office, excuse me.
Well, it could be anywhere, but I'm thinking
specifically, is that if your life is considered a mission, you'll be able to put up with a lot more. But if it's about yourself, then you'll get offended very easily. But we're missionaries. Our lives are a mission, and we represent Christ wherever we are. And I think for that, I mean, I've had an attorney. I've had a very good attorney and a very big banker that really, really were moved the way I handle a situation that I could have turned a lawsuit against them for a very substantial amount of money. And I chose not to, because I said simply the Bible tells us to forgive, and not only that, but also it tells us that if someone steals from us, we shall not ask it back. And they were just like, because I had a big case against a bank I could have sued for many dollars, and because they did something very wrong. And that's happened several times. But for them to see that I am who I am allowed them to put a new trust in me, that they just, and we've been friends. From that point on, it turned into a friendship. Up until then, it was business. Then it turned friendship because they saw character. And I think when people work around us, they should see character. And that character should portray Christ. Mm-hmm. That's who they should see. Not just that we talk that we need to love each other, but they see love, they see kindness, and they see when you should be really upset about something that you're actually not. You know, when you're suffering or when you're hurt, you don't put other people down. You don't growl at other people. You don't, complain to them and blame them and all that. You just don't. That's the way we win people. And that's the way we create atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And I think that key is realizing that even your place of work, your home, your social life, it is part of the kingdom. It is. It is a place of being an ambassador for Christ. It is a place to show, and in fact, it's probably one of the best places to show the love and mercy and grace
really
of God.
Is. It really is. And some years ago there was a conference type outreach known as Promise Keepers. Mm-hmm. All right. And I remember going out to Promise Keepers one time where some brothers wanted to go and they thought I might be opposed to it. And I says, no, I'll go with you. So I went with them. And so we went there. And one thing that I really learned that I never forgot, that they said, and you had to fill out, how you got converted and all that, how that your life was turned to Christ, who was the influence. Out of all, I'm thinking, the arenas were full when Promise Keepers went through. So you're talking literally thousands of them attending one of their seminars or conventions. And so they had numerous conventions in a year. And so they came up with 90-some% of the people that professed Christianity were actually influenced in the workplace.
Is that right?
Yeah. Versus in church, almost nobody came to Christ in church. But some friend that must have had a good attitude and a good mood in reaching out and having that, What you really want is people to say, I would like to have what you have.
And if you've got a bad mood, nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
No. And if you are a Christian that kind of has people thinking, I don't even want to get close to you, you're missing a big point. So our mission field is here. It's tomorrow. It's who we see today, who we see tomorrow, how we greet at a store, how we ask someone in kindness. And by the way, here's another thing. I'm finding that in our culture, listen to this one, kindness is not appreciated in my culture. Mm-hmm. Kindness is kind of perceived as a
weakness.
Yes, it is. And I remember how I struggled when I had to say, "Excuse me." I thought that's a sissy. That's the way I was taught. That's sissy. Come on, be a man. If anything, just kind of in your face. And if you are around my culture where I come from, this has become very obvious. One of those things is greetings, even in a phone call. There's many people in my culture that cannot say, "Hi, how are you doing?" They think that's weakness. And of all things, at the end of a conversation, they can't say bye.
Really?
They can't say bye. I can tell you hands full of people that when you come close to the end, boom, they just put their phone down. Because in our culture, that would look like a sissy. I look at it as Christian kindness to say bye-bye, have a good day.
Mm-hmm. Well, it certainly seems like courtesy at the very minimum.
It is. It is very much courtesy, and it's not sissy. Mm-hmm. I think it's a greeting, and then the proper way to sign off.
Right.
That, okay, I wish you a good day. So how is your day? People ask me on the phone call, I say, "Hi, it's Wayne." And I say, "Hello, it's Wayne." See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
"Hi, this is Wayne." And you notice also, John, you notice people that are negative, when they speak, the end of their sentences always drop down. Have you ever noticed that? "How are you?" Mm-hmm. "How are you?" See? Mm-hmm. And you notice negative people, always, the end of their sentences, it goes down. Those are people that are often lacking hope. And their future looks pretty grim. But when they say, "Hi, how are you doing?" "Hi, how are you doing?" See the difference in just the way we present.
Way we speak, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I think in conveying what Jesus is and what the kingdom is, we need to convey how we are in our heart.
Well, that would be exactly what Colossians 4:6 says. "Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer each one."
It's perfect. That's perfect. And when you're talking salt, we should always use Celtic salt.
Is that because it's healthy and it tastes good?
It is healthiest salt you'll ever find. And some people will go and look that up. Celtic salt, CELTIC. Yeah,
Celtic salt.
Yeah, mm-hmm. But yeah, it has minerals in it, rich in minerals where others don't, and it's just got a lot of things. So when you season with salt, it should have more than one ingredient in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just by meeting someone, that person should walk away and being blessed. You know what I mean?
Well, and when the Holy Spirit is moving in you, there should be a touch of heaven, really, that comes with you.
It's true. Do you, when you meet people, some people you meet and you're always looking forward to. Why? Because they make you feel good. They make you feel like someone. They make you feel important. Then there's others you meet, and I hope he's in a good mood or she's in a good mood, because it's just like...
Yeah, and you're kind of looking across the way as you see them coming, just like, can I read that?
Yeah, you do. And it's like being in shark water. You get bit. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to wrap this up, but that is so true. I just think this is a great topic. I think it's easy to slip into moodiness, to let the cares of this world weigh us down, and then try to shove our burden onto somebody else. Great comments today, Wayne. I really appreciate that. Anything to say as we sign off?
Well, always try to make someone stay better, just by your influence. Your smile, or the way you say the words, or whatever you do, even, it just makes someone's life better. That's what Jesus did. That's what we are for. We're not trying to pass out the bad things I've experienced. It's not necessary. Care for each other. Appreciate
Make their day
each
better.
other. Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
That's what I try to do. Now, you people that know me, you know whether I do a good job of it or not. I don't know. I try, but I do try.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Working at it.
Yeah.
Trying to do that.
Yeah.
And so with that, good words, we're going to sign off. But we do want to remind you that going forward, this podcast will be on Thursday afternoons at 5:30. And so we invite you to join us then. God bless you.
Yes.